Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ba'd. I want to first congratulate AlMaghrib and its friends for this effort to support our brothers and sisters in the Sudan. And this to me is very personal. It started really as a young student in 1973. I was in Medina, an African American, couldn't speak Arabic, was in a strange environment, and I was on the campus looking for somebody to help me. There were students from all over the world, and I recognized that it was the Sudanese people had a reputation amongst the students of knowledge for their generosity, their humility, their knowledge, and their dignity. And I immediately gravitated toward the Sudanese students to the point where I even adopted the Sudanese jalabia, and the turban, and I recognized how important was the Sudanese personality. And I think it's important at this point in time because many times when Muslims speak about Gaza and Palestine, they think about Masjid al-Aqsa, and no doubt this is important. They think about Gaza, and they have some sort of an historical base for what their understanding is. And I want to share with you some of my own personal experiences. I did my field work for a PhD in African history in West Africa. I also eventually ended up in Southern Africa in Dawa, and I traveled to 20 African countries. And what I recognized is that from amongst these countries, Sudan has one of the greatest legacies, one of the most important histories, not only in Africa, but in the world. And I say that not just as a cliche, but the fact that when you look at ancient Egypt, before ancient Egypt, who built the Great Pyramid of Giza, it was predated by Nubia. And it was actually the Sudanic area where around 4000 BC in Qustul, and pyramids were being built, hieroglyphics. It has an ancient civilization. There are more pyramids in the Sudan than anywhere else in the world. Also, Sudan is a strategic location. It is where the blue and the white Nile meet. And so there is rich agriculture. So no matter whether there is a drought or not, the World Health Organization designated Sudan as one of the three countries in the world that could actually feed the whole of humanity. Sudan also is an area where trade, north to south, but also the trade going across Africa, especially from the west to the east, and the pilgrims who were leaving West Africa, North Africa, many times they would have to go through the Sudan in order to go to Jeddah. And so, in a sense, the Sudan is like a bridge between Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. And so the culture of the people is a combination of African culture, of Arabian culture, of Islamic culture. You'll be surprised to know that there's over 100 languages spoken in the Sudan. And when you look at uh, Sudan in terms of what it has to offer and what it was about, I found in the field of Dawah that the Sudanese people, because of being natural Arabic speakers, but being part of Africa, having generosity. And remember that the Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith in the Muwatta, it was said, "Bu'ithtu li utammima husnul akhlaq." Verily, I have been sent to complete the best in character. So the essence of the dawah, of the spread of Islam, is the character of the Muslims. And you'll see that with the spread of Islam throughout the world. And so the Sudanese, being this bridge area, was critical for us when we were spreading Islam around the African continent. Also in the Sudan was a great struggle against oppression. And it was the Mahdiist movement at the turn of the century, Muhammad Ahmed. They defeated the British, and you could say that they had really one of the first, if not the first, independent Muslim state on the African continent. And so, from so many different angles, Sudan is critical, and now it's under attack. Why is it under attack? It's under attack because the Islamic potential coming out of the Sudan is one of the greatest in the whole of the Muslim world. Secondly, Sudan is blessed or cursed with gold. That same gold that you find in West Africa, it is also in the Sudan. So it is one of the strongest gold reserves on earth today. It's coming out of the Sudan. It has tremendous potential in terms of agriculture. And so, therefore, its agriculture is being exploited. Its strategic position on the Red Sea is being exploited. And this is a proxy war. This is not a civil war. And people are realizing that many of the Janjaweed, the so-called RSF, are not even Sudanese. That literally it is a proxy war, in part of the international chess game. So I want brothers and sisters to realize that yes, we are helping people who are suffering, but you're also helping the Muslim world. This is one of the key movements that's being made to crush Islam in this world, along with Philistine, along with Kashmir, along with other parts. This is one of the key areas. And so, therefore, now you see why there's a blackout in the media. They hardly mention the Sudan when we know it is the greatest humanitarian crisis on earth. How can that possibly happen? Because they don't want you to know. They don't want Muslims to understand how important Sudan is for the body of Islam. And we talk about, yes, when one part of the body is harmed, the rest of it, actually, according to the hadith, will react. Now, what part of the body is the Sudan? Is it a toenail? Is it? No, it's the leg. It's literally one of the foundations of the Muslim ummah. And that is critical for us in our understanding to realize that the Sudanese people are not weak, poor people who have never done anything for the history of Islam, but they are some of the great scholars of Islam, some of the spiritual people, some of the people of Dawah, some of the people who have built up Islamic institutions and are still playing a great role in Islamic institutions and movements throughout the world. And so this is critical for us now to give whatever we can give and realize that we are not only just helping one of the crises areas, but we are now trying to hold up the banner of Islam, the ummah. This is the leg of the ummah which is being knocked down, and we need to respond. So we need to respond in any possible way that we can and educate yourself. And you always see me talking about history because if you don't know the past, you're going to be confused in the present. And so history erases the mystery. And so we need the mystery of the Sudan to be erased. This is not an outlier. This is not a periphery. This is the heartland of Islam and one of the first areas, East Africa, that Muslims actually went into in the first Hijrah. So I leave you with these points. At this point, there's so much to say about the Sudan. It's very personal for me. I've been in the Sudan twice. I drank from the Nile. I crossed the bridge to Durman. I sat with, met with some of the scholars, that are there. One of my children actually studied, there to learn Arabic, there in the Markaz, in Khartoum. It's always been very close to me. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would lift this burden and this crisis off of the Sudanese people and bring them back, to their esteemed position in the Muslim world.